Sorry I've been MIA from writing the last few days. Last week was off the wall. It was nuts. Cashews, acorns, a whole assortment. Sadly, we're not with our musician friends anymore. The High Five have reconvened with the rest of the group, and we're on the road again. All 10 of us. I haven't had time to write everything because we've been trying out a lot of new cities. Today we hopscotched down to the docks. We looked around at some of the small sailboats and motor floaters. Upon arrival here, Pepito tied his long golden mane up into a ball at the top of his head. This prevented his hair curtains from blocking his curious lookers. I think having his hair tied so tightly might have squeezed his brain in a funny way. His eyes grew twice the size of normal, and his nose twitched like a critter in the woods. He woodchucked furiously through a half package of gummies, and snuck around the vessels like a sneak. I was more intrigued by his behavior than by the floaters themselves. As entertaining as it was to watch Pepito act like Pepito, this was not the sole purpose at the docks. We were here to arrange an exploration of the hidden subsurface of Fuchsia. We wanted to ride inside the giant flying lionfish and visit the many secret caves below. At the end of the pier sat a scuba oracle. He was dressed in old school scuba gear, with the bowl on his head and everything. We couldn't see his face through the bowl helmet, however, he had a crystal ball sitting on a table before him. In the crystal ball, his face appeared. He had an odd face with a silly skinny mustache that stuck out like 3 kitten whiskers on either side. We approached. "Hello," Bunny said to his face in the crystal ball. "What are you looking at? My eyes are up here," he replied. "Oh," Bunny said, surprised. "Hello," she repeated, looking into the faceless scuba helmet. "Just kidding. You can look at me through the crystal ball." "Hello," Bunny repeated, looking back down at his face. "Today we would like to float into the downward sky, inside your giant lionfish." "'Tis always about the damn fish," the oracle said. "'Tis never, 'How are you?' or 'What is your name?'" "I'm sorry," Bunny said. "'Tis okay. 'Tis but the scourge of loneliness which plagues the oracle." "Right. Well, can we?" "Can you what?" "Ride inside the fish." "They call me Sail, and I'm doing well. Thank you for asking." Bunny was thrown off by the scuba oracle. "Oh, Sail, that's an interesting name. Like sail on a boat?" she asked. She was trying to get on his good side. "No, 'tis Sail, like sail on aisle 9. "I see. I'm sorry for the mix-up." "'Tis fine. I'm accustomed to you landlubbers and your misinformed assumptions." "Sail, we aren't like that, I swear," Bunny told him. "We eagerly long to explore the subsurface. Are we worthy?" "'Tis a question that only you can answer." "How?" Bunny asked. The scuba oracle said nothing, but stood up and picked up his crystal ball from the table. His body danced the foxtrot around the group, and he held out the orb to let his face observe us. "This one," he said, pointing at Pepito. "The rest of you are worthy, but Pepito Hefferberger must leave here at once." We all gasped. Why Pepito? How did the oracle know him by name? Pepito looked at Sail's face in the crystal ball and said, "Kiss my blowhole, skipper." We all gasped again. "Silence, ass of a sea urchin! Sail now says 20% off. 2 of you are banished." "Please, no, Sail," Bunny pleaded. "It's okay," Rascal said. "I'll go with Pepito. I hate fish." We agreed that Rascal and Pepito would leave the docks. Once they were out of sight, Sail used his crystal ball to summon the flying lionfish. Sail's face disappeared from the orb and was replaced by bright white shines. We could still hear his voice, though. "Come hither, Bubbles, you beautiful beast," he said. "I've got foot travelers that long for you to take their voyage virginities." Far below us, a dark shadow appeared. It started off the size of a centimeter and grew the size of several centimeters. "Did you know," Booby asked as we waited, "that the lionfish can grow up to 18 venomous spikes on its back?" "How factual," Dia said. "Bubbles has 28 venomous spikes," Sail said. "And did you know that lionfish survive up to 16 years?" Booby said. "Bubbles has existed for 600 years," Sail exclaimed. "And did you know," Booby continued. "Silence!" Sail shouted at Booby. "I can bear no more of your verbal diarrhea." The shadow below had now become massive. Bubbles' form became more clear. Soon we were unable to detach our eyes from the dazzling beauty. Her venomous spikes pointed in all directions, and she was covered in sparkling stripes of orange, banana, and cherry red. She was a firework, frozen in the moment of its explosion. With a grand splash, the giant flying lionfish plunged from the subsurface. A wave of warm fuchsia juice splashed us on the dock. "Hello, Bubbles. You excited for your snackaroo?" Sail asked. Bubbles wagged her tail fin like a joyful woofer. She had hundreds of razor-tipped teeth. "Who's first?" Sail asked. We were hesitant. "I'll go," Booby declared. I was surprised by Booby's appetite for adventure, until he explained his reasoning. "I've always wondered about the digestive journey through a fish's body." "Wow. That's what you wonder about?" I asked him. "Yes," he responded. "Well, okay then. 'Tis imperative that you jump perfectly into the center of the mouth, O boring one," Sail said to Booby. If you falter, the jagged teeth shall shred you into teensy-weensy pieces like shady business papers. Booby nodded. He bent his knees and kangarooed himself into the center of Bubbles' treacherous munch pit. Ah! He screamed. Then he was gone. Once Booby had jumped, we all hopped in after him. One by one, we were swallowed into the belly of Bubbles. It was without lights inside this belly, as I imagine most bellies are. However, the inner walls soon lit up into a bright neon glow. Welcome, we could hear Sail's voice say, all around us, like a surround sound boombox, to the mystical subsurface tour of Fuchsia. Please keep all hands, feet, and existential crises inside the fish at all times. The neon walls then changed. They became see-through so that we could see outside of Bubbles' body and into the thick ocean of downward sky. The only glow that remained was a neon outline of Bubbles' scales. It was the coolest thing ever. Bubbles flipped her body so that she faced straight down. Hold on to your hacky sacks, Sail shouted. Your tour begins in 3, 2, 1, blast off! Bubbles shot downward like a turbo torpedo at 1,000th of a second per mile. All 8 of us flew backward inside her. There were flashes of light all around us as the fish twisted and turned and did loopity-loops and flippity-flops. We couldn't move. On our way down, we passed what looked like an entire society of people. It was hard to tell. It lasted for less than a blink of an eye. The flashing fuchsia around us got deeper and darker and harder to comprehend. It was like a light storm in a lava lamp. We moved so fast that the substance around us curdled up like papier-mâché. We started seeing giant floating faces of men and women following alongside us and looking in. The faces were ass backwards with eyes and noses all askew. They butted heads to fight for a good peek at us. A school of ears and unibrows then swam by. The faces turned and chased after these homeless face traits. I felt like I was going to burst apart. Finally, Bubbles made a sharp leftward L turn. We were all turned into jumping beans inside of her inner popcorn popper machine. Boom! Before we knew it, we had entered a hidden cave. It was completely black, and all we could see was the neon outline of scales all around us. The giant flying lionfish came to a blistering halt. Did you enjoy your ride? Said Sail's voice. Let's do it again! Reaction screamed, dizzy and excited. Good. Well, welcome to the darkest corners of Fuchsia. Bubbles guided us through the dark. I mentioned a few sentences ago that the cave was black. Let me correct myself. It was darker than black. It was negative color, if that's possible. Anything is possible if you believe in yourself. As Bubbles continued swimming forward, we saw the first installation on the interior cave wall. It was made out of bubbling, boiling, hotter-than-hell magma. Blue magma, red magma, green magma, gold magma. This magma painted a picture. Against the negative color black backdrop, the image stamped itself painfully into my sea holes. It was an image of 2 people kissing with furious passion. The magma wasn't sitting still either. It moved. With the movement of the magma paint, so moved the 2 people in the art. The couple paused momentarily from their kiss to look at us. Holy luchadors! The 2 faces in the art were Bunny and me. I turned to the others to see their reactions, but they were gone. I was alone inside this fish. Sail! I screamed. Where the hell did my friends go? There was no answer. Soon I didn't even see the glowing outline of Bubbles' scales anymore. It seemed that I was just floating onward in this cave, alone. I do not know how to explain the sensation. It felt like someone was strangling my each and every individual nerve with a necklace of nails. But at the same time I felt free. Odd. Anyway, I turned back around and let the paint set blaze to my eyes once more. It slowly drifted out of my sight. Or I drifted out of its sight? Sure. Bottom line, it was gone. Kinda. When I closed my eyes, it was still there. I kept my eyes closed for this reason, until I arrived at the next installation. It was one made of stars. It was a star constellation installation. There were waves of floating fireballs whirlpooling around a town in an apocalyptic scene. It was frightfully picturesque. The stars never touched the town, but there was this looming doom. I feared for the town's demise, probably more than there was actual danger. I floated on. The next installation was a collection of time tickers that had been carved into the cave wall. A light shined on them, so I could see. They all had chameleon-colored faces, with hands that moved in sync. Every tick inspired a sunshine-sounding piano key to play just for me. Even in the mind-boggling darkness, the soothing smoothie blend of sounds made my brain go mango. I could smell sunscreen. I could taste salt water. Then the hands began to move faster. The piano keys got all twisted and opened the door for a different bonanza of feelings. They played my spinal cord. The hairs on my arms and neck gave a standing ovation. Sheer fear of disappearing entered through my ears and jolted down to my tippy toes. As the hands spun out of control, they started to emit smoky poofs. Finally, they all began to burst apart. It sounded like the piano had burst too. The time tickers had turned into clock fondue and seeped down the wall. They were mushed and mashed and melty. I wanted to skewer my hopes and dreams and dip them in that clocky queso. I floated on. The next installation was, after the clock one, I thought the rest were nondescript. When the tour was over, I looked around and found that I was back inside a bubble's belly with my friends. We were finally exiting the cave. That was wild, Dia said. I read about the caves in a book, but boy, was that loads more peachy in person. Yeah, Dia, I said. Reading sucks. Why read when you can actually go and do things? Just kidding. Reading is cool. We shot back up to the surface. When we arrived, Sale's voice said, "Exit stage ass." We all lined up, and Bubbles unbunched her deuter to poop us out one by one. Soon we were all Bubbles' dung. We paid our tokens to the scuba oracle and went on our way to the next city. "Hey," I said to Bunny as we strolled on. "In that first installation, what did you see?" "Two people lip wrestling," she responded. "I know, but any two people in particular?" "Nope," she said. She seemed tense. I bet she saw us too. I really needed a shower. I smelled like fish ass.